Hello and welcome to A Course in Miracles 365. I'm your host, Tomas Garza, and wherever you are in the world, as always today, I thank you for joining me. I'm excited to go through today's material. We're in the workbook for students of A Course in Miracles, and if you're just joining us on this live stream, this is a daily stream, and I will be bringing you some guest appearances and a lot of conversation and discussion of the workbook for students of A Course in Miracles, which we're going through right now, currently. Now, we're on lesson 29 today. So I do want to invite you that whether this is the first time that you've ever encountered this material, or whether this is something that you've been working on for years and years and years, wherever you are, feel free to take your time. And if you're just starting off on lesson 1, there's no need to jump ahead to lesson 29. And in fact, the workbook recommends that you don't, because you'll miss a lot of foundational pieces for where we find ourselves today. Now, if you are further ahead in the workbook, or if this is something that you worked on maybe a couple of years ago, for example, and you're off working with a text or something else, that's fine too. But wherever you find yourself here, I hope that you are able to find and view past editions of this live stream. So this has been going on for about 5.5 weeks. In fact, I think this is day maybe 38 or 39 of this live. So it's going to take at least a year to get through the workbook for students. And along the way, I have been, as you've seen, interviewing some people, having guests appear here on the stream to talk about their experience with A Course in Miracles. And I've had my wife, Cindy Garza, as part of that. And I've had Kim Venter, who appeared just last week and talked about the 2 years that she has been involved with A Course in Miracles and the transformation that that has brought to her life. So stay tuned here for all of that. And housekeeping item before we launch into the workbook, the show guide on Enlightened World Network is usually, well, in fact, it's almost always that first pinned post here. It's the first pinned post on the Facebook page, which definitely please like and follow this Enlightened World Network. That will show the day's programming. You'll notice that this show is offered at different times every day. Now, it is daily. The times will jump around. So again, if you're not able to catch live, the live stream, that's okay. You can catch it on the replay, and I will always go through the comments as well. And if you have questions, if you have comments, I will be able to see those, even if you don't catch it live. So if you're watching this live, thank you for sharing this out and for sharing the replay as well to all of your friends. That's what we're all about here. And this is what this modern technology gives us the opportunity to do here, is to share what matters to us, to put it out there into the world for our friends, for our colleagues, family members, for other people that might benefit from hearing this message. And this is none other than the message of God. This is A Course in Miracles. And here we are with the workbook. All right. So today's lesson, lesson 29, God is in everything I see. All right. So this could either be really short or really long, depending. The explanation for this is actually very simple. And A Course in Miracles says in several different parts, and several of the other books that have been written about people's experience with the Course also have said that simply God is. I just, period, mic drop, God is. That's the statement of absolute truth. Now, absolute truth, the essence of our being, who we really are, actually goes beyond language. Language is symbolic. It's something we invented in this world to communicate with each other. Yeah, for sure. But it goes actually beyond that. And absolute truth, God is. In other words, nothing else is at all. That's absolute truth. Lesson 29 starts us into incorporating this into our minds. Because what has happened from time immemorial here is that we have lost sight of this. We have run off in various lifetimes pursuing money, pursuing a career, pursuing who knows what, not who knows what, but we have all collectively lost sight of who we really are. A Course in Miracles and spiritual practice in general represents nothing other than a journey back. It's a journey home, so to speak. And we'll find at the end of the journey, and we'll find actually along the way, that there is in fact nowhere to go. We're already here. We're just allowing ourselves to see. We're allowing ourselves to see and to be who we really are. And that is deeply powerful. It's why we're all here, all of us. Whether you encounter material like this in this lifetime or not, you have, because you're watching this live stream. That's why we're all here. All right, and this takes spirituality in general, takes so many different forms all over the world. Why? To relate to people where they are, to relate to them based on their own culture, to relate to them based on their own ethnic group, to relate to them based on the part of the world that they happen to find themselves in. Yeah, and we're all headed for the same place because that's where we are. We've never left. So there's no separation at all. And that is why God is in everything that we see. There is no separation of any kind. And if you take nothing out of this video today, take that. Even if you don't believe it, that's actually quite all right. In fact, it doesn't make any difference if you don't believe it or if you experience some very strong resistance to this idea. There is no separation at all, period, of any kind. Again, doesn't matter if you believe it, just sit with that. That's why God is in everything we see. Okay. So we might object that we use the example of a table because the workbook does. And as you recall, it used the example of a table a couple of days ago. And the fact that we're seeing a table, in this case, based on the past, we're seeing it not as it is, but based on our past assumptions about it. It's for putting things on, whatever those things are. Yeah, that's assumptions and our experience based on the past. What is it really for? It's to help us awaken. Okay, so how could a table be able to help us awaken? You might ask. Great question. God is in everything you see. God is in this computer. Clearly, because I'm reaching out to you, right? God is in this table. God is in this ring light up here. God is in the paintings behind me. God is in this ear. God is in this shirt. God is in this nose, and so on and so on. And that is, in fact, what the practice periods for today's idea look like. We don't really see things for what they're for. We don't see them as they are. Why we're seeing them as separate. We're seeing one table as separate from another. We're seeing one computer as separate from another. We're seeing an Apple computer as separate from a PC, and so on and so on. All the way down to finite particles that are separate from other finite particles. One atom is separate from another atom, even though they're all rammed together. Separate, 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 separate. That's the way that we see things in the world when we identify with the ego. Separation. There is no separation of any kind. God is in everything, everything, period, I see. So what we're learning to do And the workbook lesson for today says this specifically. It's very, very important. We're learning to look at things with appreciation. We're learning to look at them with love and open-mindedness. Okay, let's say that again. We're learning to look at everything with love, appreciation, and open-mindedness. It's here to serve our purpose in this life of awakening. That's what it's for. That's what the Course means by saying that everything is for our own best interest. What is in our own best interest but to awaken to the truth of who we really are? What else could even possibly be more important than that? This lesson, practicing the truth that God is in everything we see, helps us to look at things with open-mindedness. Entertaining even the thought that, well, we haven't really seen things for what they're for. Perhaps we've been mistaken about that. Look at it with love. Look at it with a kind heart. Yeah, very, very important. And this is foundational. It's very fundamental because nothing, and I think that we would all agree on this, no matter how much skepticism a lesson like this may generate in your mind, I think we could all agree that nothing is as it appears to us. Things are not what they seem. And they're really, really not. And if you really truly thought 100% of the time that they were, you wouldn't be watching this live stream. There's no way that you would have been scrolling Facebook and seen Enlightened World Network and been attracted to that, right? There's no way that you would be attracted to your spiritual practice, whatever that is, whether it is a religious tradition, a spiritual tradition, it could be yoga, a walk in the woods, meditation, whatever it is. There's no way you would have been attracted to it if you didn't know, and I mean gut level, core level, intuitively know, soul level know that things are not as they appear to be. There's more, a whole lot more going on than meets our eyes and our physical senses in this world. We prefer to think of it as under the surface. Well, I mean, there is no surface and there's no under or over. We're just not seeing things as they really are. Things are not what they appear. This workbook exercise helps us work on that. So what we do in the practice period is we, with our eyes open, and very importantly, doing our best not to discriminate and leave certain items out of our vision. So whatever we see, right? God is in everything I see. God is in this computer. God is in this computer screen. God is in this body. God is in that rug. God is in that painting. God is in that wall that's painted gray. Whatever you see, without leaving anything out. And just that is the way that we practice today's idea. So why would we do that? To look on things with love and open-mindedness. Would you rather look on things with love and appreciation and open-mindedness, or would you rather look upon them with harsh judgment and see them as things that are not here to serve you, but may even, in fact, be out to get you? Which is more pleasurable to you? Which would you, in fact, prefer? There is no separation at all of any kind. Take that away from today's workbook exercise as well. All right. So as always, there's time here on the live stream for questions, for comments, and let's see who's joining us here today. This is one of my favorite parts, is being live here with you all. And we've got several people on today. Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Deirdre, hello again. Thank you. And thank you for sharing. Good evening, Robert. Yes, from Romania. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Yeah. And so Deirdre says this is one of the things that drew her into this version of ACIM. You don't have to believe it, just do it. It works when you get out of your own way. Don't you love that? Yeah, thank you for that comment. I love that. Yes, we're not being asked to believe it. I mean, this is not a religion. Thank God, right? That's the last thing that this world needs is another religion, correct? Right? It's a self-study course. That is, to me, one of the great highlights of A Course in Miracles. It's really the genius of it is it's self-study. We're not being asked to believe anything. And if you are active in a particular religious tradition, keep it. If it works for you, it speaks to you, keep it. This is not saying leave that behind. It's not one or the other. This can easily supplement your path and your walk and your faith in any tradition. I love that. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing and genius. I mean, of course, Jesus knows exactly what he's doing, right? Right. Yeah. So, Terry, hey, thank you for joining me today. And Elaine, thank you for joining me. Yes, and Isabel and Elaine, yes, absolutely nothing is as it appears. Well, that's for sure. I mean, we're not even as we appear. Our bodies change, right? You know, our hair gets gray. If you're a dude, you kind of thins out, things like that, right? Nothing is as it appears from one minute to the next. And that applies to literally everything in this world. You bet. And Christina, hello. Thank you all for tuning in. If anyone has any specific comments or questions, let's stay on here for another minute or two. This is one of the parts that I really love about this live stream is the live interaction. It's really quite a beautiful thing. And we're so fortunate to have modern technology. We're fortunate to have Enlightened World Network and other places where we can go and we can interact with people that are doing this work, because it's really easy, isn't it, sometimes in any spiritual path to feel like you're all alone, right? You're doing everything. I mean, we're the only ones making our decisions moment to moment. Of course, that's true. But it really helps. And it has really helped me to know that there's a community of people out there, that people are interested in the same things, that they're doing the same things. And this always benefits everybody tuning in. So if you're tuning in even for just the first time, welcome. And thank you for doing that, because you may have questions, especially just starting out, that someone else in the group will be able to answer, and their answer might speak to you better than my answer will. And if that's the case, fantastic. Consider that is meant to be. Yeah, this interaction is very, very good. And I really love being able to offer that. Now, if you miss this live stream, because it's fairly short, I mean, most of them are about 20 minutes tops. Today will be no different. I will catch comments on the back end. I'll be checking them throughout the day. And definitely, if this is a spiritual text, like if this is something that you've had on your shelf for a while, maybe today will be the day where you pull it out and start taking a closer look at it. It's really worked a tremendous amount, well, of miracles. Quite frankly, a miracle is defined in the Course as a shift in perception from fear to love. That we 180 it. So it's worked a tremendous amount and miracles in my own life brought joy, forgiveness, love, compassion, and the way I'm showing up today as a result of 8 years of study of this course is very different than I would have been when I started. And this is what is in store for anyone that makes the decision to open this book up and to start going through it. Whether you start with the workbook, whether you start with the text, the manual for students, whatever speaks to you, it's all there for a reason. And wherever you are, consider this is exactly where you're meant to be right now at this time. All right, so let's take one more comment here before we wrap up. And Elaine says, this course has opened up your heart center. Yes, allowing the truth to flow as I am and the will to trust the process. Cool. Thank you for commenting on that. Yeah, what really stands out to me is opening the heart and trust the process. That's so hard for us in life, isn't it, sometimes to trust the process because we think we have to be all the way at the finish line. People want to read the last paragraph of a novel first. We want to read lesson 365 and jump ahead and skip all the work, right? Yeah, it's not like that. Spirituality is about trust, and there is a component of allowing and getting out of our own way so that we can trust the process, lean into that. And from there, we can actually make crystal clear decisions with 100% certainty. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. We're all working on that getting out of our own way and the trust. Yeah. And then Cindy writes, relax and trust. It was her biggest obstacle. And Cindy's my wife. I can attest to that. Yeah, it's a big obstacle for most of us. Actually, it has been one of the biggest obstacles also for me, is to just get out of my own way. Because if we have degrees or if we have work experience, especially in something, we tend to think we know it all, right? We have the answers. Well, how's that working out for us, right? I mean, if we're still seeing ourselves as separate, and if we're not having the constant experience of being love, then we might want to get out of our own way. And this course is really, really quite helpful with that. Yeah. So thank you all so much for tuning in. It's really wonderful to be here with all of you, sharing my experience. I love all of you. I love this network and this course. And thank you so much for tuning in. I will be here every day. So I do want to invite you all to check the show guide on Enlightened World Network every day for the exact show time, because it does move around a little bit here. All right. Thank you for the comments. I'll get to others after the stream is over today. So have a beautiful rest of your day, guys. And I will see you right back here tomorrow. Talk to you soon.